To other story. The defense headquarters is looking for 8 people over the recent killing of 17 military personnel in Delta State, whereas the king of Ewu Kingdom, Clement Ikolo, turned himself in with the claim that he has been wrongly listed among the wanted criminals and has since been transferred to Abuja. What's your reading of this situation, Biko?
Well, he's going to explain to the army, he's going to explain to investigators what he knows about the killing of the murder of 17 army personnel. At this stage, you cannot rule anything out. You cannot rule anything in. The traditional ruler, His Royal Majesty, seem clear. I mean, let me see his name again. Uh, to be so okay. His Royal Majesty Clement Ikolo has to defend himself. No one has declared him guilty. He has to defend himself and explain that indeed he is innocent. And once he's able to effectively defend himself, will be allowed to go. So at this stage, we can't say whether he's saying the truth or not. He said he was wrongly listed. Perhaps that is true. Investigations will show that um, he was wrongly listed. Perhaps they have some goods on him, and the military would be willing to show proof that he has a case to answer. But at this preliminary stage, you can't even say that all of the people um, declared wanted are guilty. I saw a woman on that list, Ughelli Ebi, and I'm wondering what is a woman doing on this list. Again, I'm not an investigator, I'm not a policeman, neither am I a soldier. They must have their reasons. I am disappointed in the Delta state government because this issue, the conflict between two communities, should not have been left to degenerate to the point that soldiers who came in with the intention of uh, making peace would then be killed in the manner in which they've been killed. All of the people that I've spoken to who are conversant with the affairs of both communities located along the Focados River tell me that it was a case of uh, uh, people being killed in error, very similar to what happened in Zakibian when the two warring communities were fighting one another, two communities were fighting one another, and soldiers came in, and one of the um, community fighters of one of the communities thought their enemies were the people dressed in army uniform, descended on them and dismembered those soldiers. It's very similar to what we have seen here. I've been told by many of the people that I interviewed that it was a clear case of mistaken identity, but be that as it may, it is clear that some non-state actors are heavily harmed, especially in the Niger Delta area. And yes, you could accuse the soldiers of being lightly armed when they stormed that community. But the people who attacked them were by far better armed than them. Some of them reportedly had rocket-propelled grenades. The soldiers had nothing close to that. Just had their rifles, they were lightly armed. So it was easy to uh, overrun them. These two communities, Okoloba and Okoma, they intermarried, they've intertraded, and they are both predominantly into fishing and trading, farming as well. So it makes no sense for two communities so close to one another to be killing one another in the way that they were doing. And that's why I felt that the River State, the Delta State government should have resolved the matter before now, but they were largely indecisive and indifferent, which allowed the matter to degenerate into a full-scale war. And when a particular man was murdered, he was first kidnapped around Ayakuromo community, the Jaw community. Later on, when a report was lodged that they were looking for him, they found his corpse floating on the Forcados River. Naturally, they accused the adversaries of being behind the killing. And of course, his head had been taken away. So soldiers stepped in, soldiers moved to the scene. They wanted to make some arrests. An alarm was raised that the enemy had come to the area dressed in military uniform, seeking to abduct some of their men. In response to that alarm, there was a confrontation. The soldiers shot into the air, but the hoodlums overpowered them.
That's right.
And the rest is history. So now the army has expanded its hunt for the people behind these killings to Delta states. To Bayelsa State. One Ruben Baru actually shot a video that went viral in which he expanded the scope of the conflict and even brought in Tompolo. Tompolo is the most famous militant in the entire Niger Delta. Today, he's been engaged by the federal government to stop oil theft and help us increase our oil output. There are many people in the Niger Delta opposed to Tompolo even having that contract renewed. They pressured the president not to renew it because they felt that had already given Tompolo so much latitude in that area. And the army, the navy, they are on his side. So there were some people were looking for a way to kind of achieve a balance of terror or bring up another militant who can counter Tompolo and allow the willful theft of Nigeria's oil resources to continue. That was why the Chief of Defense Staff said what happened could be linked to bunkering. I knew from the beginning that bunkering and oil theft could be one of the reasons for this big conflict. And the Chief of Defense Staff mentioned that. So listening to Ruben Baru, who claimed that the soldiers were actually doing the bidding of Tompolo, you could see how complex that conflict has become. So it's no longer a contest, or I mean, for land between the Okoloba and the Okpoma communities. The Okpomas are the Urhobos, and the Okolobas are the Ijos. The issue of bunkering has already been linked to what has happened.
Right.
So that is an area where we need to do a lot more investigation. And the investigators of these killings must not rule anything out.
Yeah.
It looks very likely that while we believe that the military came to um, quell fighting, the conflict revolves around battle for exclusive talk in the area to enable the oil theft to go on. So I was actually alarmed by the revelation made by the Chief of Defense Staff that bunkering was at the root of what happened.
Right.
So was it simply a case of two sets of hoodlums battling for control of the area to enable them steal Nigeria's oil as much as they wanted, or a case of a group seeing another group as coming to stop it from having unfettered access to those resources. So now what we have from our investigation is a case of Tompolo and the others.
Yeah.
And already among those that have been declared wanted are militants known to oppose Tompolo, known to be doing their best, of course, with the support of some political bigwigs
That's
in
right.
Niger, in Delta and Bayelsa, to get someone who can really beat Tompolo to his game, to raise another deadly militant, more powerful and more influential than Tompolo. These are the issues that people are not talking about. People are simply saying, oh, yeah, the army came to resolve a conflict, but it is a conflict much wider than that in scope and circumstance.
Yeah. That's right. Very quickly, because we're out of time, BKO. Human rights lawyer Femi
Yeah.
Falana said it's illegal for the military to declare civilians wanted without obtaining a court order. Adding that if the federal government fails to call the defense headquarters to order, the case concerning the tragic murder of the soldiers will be completely bungled. How do you react to this? Very quickly.
It's not everything that Femi Falana says that I like to uh, respond to. It's not. The army has been declaring terrorists wanted in the Northeast, for example. I didn't hear him complain about that. Shekau and others have been declared wanted not by the police, but by the military.
Yeah.
And there are specific, what the military wants is support from the citizens by way of providing information, you know, that could lead to the arrest of these people, because many of them have left Delta State. They are some are in Bayelsa. They are hiding. They could even end up outside Nigeria. You know. So what the army is trying to do is to get the support of our people, provide them information with which they can get hold of people. So if the army is already involved in security work in our states, no one can say they do not have the power to declare someone wanted. No, they don't have the power of prosecution,
That's right.
but they can declare you wanted, and when they get hold of you, they will turn you in. They are not going to try you through martial law. They are still going to hand you over to the police who have prosecutorial powers. I don't like these needless arguments over point of law and the rest. I just don't like it.
That's right.
Does the American Army, did they not declare Osama bin Laden and co-wanted? Were they not going after them? Were they not making those arrests? No, let's ask ourselves. Because the U.S. Army was operating in Afghanistan and all these places, and they were declaring people wanted.
That's right. That's correct.
So,